Everyone is crowning and chanting Mercedes and Ferrari as the new kings of 2026. They're celebrating, but they're all conveniently forgetting one thing: Max Verstappen. In Australia, while the world was watching the front, Max was tearing through the field from 20th to 6th in just 30 laps, in a car that had no right to be that fast. Fastest lap, driver of the day, all with a car that's supposedly falling apart. If you think Max is finished, you're not just wrong, you're falling for the trap. Because what Red Bull is hiding for China, it's going to shock everyone. Let's break it down. We all know Max's axle got locked and he crashed out of qualifying, which led him to start in 20th at Australia. Take a look at these qualifying results though. Isack Hadjar finished about 7.5 tenths behind George on pole. They call Max a teammate killer. Name one he hasn't slayed. Tsunoda, Verstappen 26, Tsunoda 1. Average gap, Verstappen ahead by 0.735 seconds. Tsunoda, he's no longer in F1. Lawson, Verstappen 3, Lawson 0. Average gap, Verstappen ahead by 0.880 seconds. Lawson is in Racing Bulls and is getting beaten by his rookie teammate today. Perez, Verstappen 80, Perez 10. Average gap, Verstappen ahead by 0.633 seconds. Perez is driving for Cadillac, who are about 3 to 4 seconds off the pace. Should I go on? Max outclasses all his teammates, and in general is at least half a second quicker than them. Can Hadjar, who's only doing his first race at Red Bull, do you actually believe he could truly stack up against Max? He walks into a team where the environment is do enough to score points, because your teammate never has an off day. So with that, it wouldn't be crazy to assume that Max would have at least been on the first row in Australia had his car not messed up. It wasn't even driver error, which everyone agrees. Had Max been on the front row, it may have been a very different race. During testing, Max was the one who found a new driving style for the new cars, where every other driver saw what he was doing and started copying his style. Max is the benchmark, Max is the gold standard. If we look at the 10 fastest laps that came out of the Australian GP, Max set 4 of those. Remember that his car is not as fast as the Mercedes or Ferrari, yet he's the most featured driver for fastest laps. The Red Bull does seem this year that it's harsh on its tyres, but Max Verstappen is a tyre whisperer. We can't assume after Max looks at the data, he won't figure out a way to drive his car that can strike a balance between pace and tyre saving. It's simply fiction to rule out Max from the Chinese GP. Based on current understanding, Red Bull is 0.451 seconds behind the leaders Mercedes this year, but that information simply is not verifiable yet. Hadjar did not run enough in the race before his car broke, and Max started in 20th. Max being 20th means he had traffic to deal with, dirty air, more tyre degradation because of having to push harder to pass as many cars as he did. The assumption that Red Bull is 4 to 5 tenths behind Mercedes is just an assumption. Starting in P20 is a completely different sport than starting in P1. We haven't seen the Red Bull in clean air, and we haven't seen Max in a fair fight. China is where we finally find out if the Mercedes era is real or if it's just a mirage. And if I were Mercedes, I'd be watching my mirrors. The straights in Shanghai are long, especially between turns 13 and 14. With these 2026 regulations, we saw from the Australian GP that the long straights are battery killers. The battery goes out and revs drop. With the engine not revving, the car looks like it's doing a crawl. Formula 1 is not just plainly about who has the fastest engine any longer. It's about energy bookkeeping and management now. Being able to adapt your driving style in a relevant way against your rival and deploying the battery at the right time to get past. It's a source of frustration for the drivers, but it does require a lot to understand when to use your battery. When it comes to adapting to new things, Max is the best. Look at him in rain races. Look at how he performs in safety car-filled races. The data is all there. Max is a cut above. Max can challenge for the win in China, especially if he's already got understanding on how to drive these cars. This is not even an out there take, because he was the one who discovered how to drive these cars in a more optimized manner during testing. Any point in his career, Max has always been relevant. In Toro Rosso, he was already being touted as a future champion, which he achieved. In his early Red Bull days, he was the one Red Bull built the team for. which happened. In his prime Red Bull days, he won and dominated, which he did. Even last year, the oh-so-great McLaren, he brought the championship down to 2 points. Max is truly still in this championship. The data hasn't showed us everything. I'll be bold and say it. Max will end up at minimum on the podium in China. Well, that's it from me. If you think I'm crazy, tell me why in the comments. If you think Max is still king, drop a like.